Welcome back to the 2015 World's Group Stage and our final match, AHQ Esports taking on the hometown favorites, Fnatic. Now, this is a rematch from MSI that AHQ won handily with one key difference today. Reckless is in the bot lane.
Yeah, when they played at MSI, they exploited Steelback in the bot lane. Mountain was able to get off a lot of ganks on the Urgot early. And now with this guy down there, he is not as exploitable of a bottom laner. He has been playing rather aggressive lately towards the end of the split, but he is nowhere on the level that Steelback was. Steelback averaged down in CS, and they had to come back from that deficit. This, not the same bot lane.
He's also rocking a sweet ponytail.
Yeah.
Mini
Warrior
ponytail.
Braid. There you go.
Oh, there it is! That was so well timed.
You can put your head back up, Reckless.
Anyway, back to business.
Yeah, and beyond that, you know, they've got a great bottom lane, but the rest of the team kept evolving, and I think that their mid laner for Bivin has turned into an absolute monster. This guy has potential out the wazoo. Like, he could go anywhere he wants, and, you know, we saw Rookie in that game performing very well, getting a solo queue with Teleport Echo. This guy went toe-to-toe with him and came out ahead.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Fabibin by saying this, but he was unarguably benefited by getting an overwhelming number of Victor and Azir picks over the course of the summer season because of a lot of the bans that were going against Huni. So he benefited. But I agree, he's a much better mid laner now than he was at MSI. And even then he performed very well. This guy is developing wonderfully in his first year of professional competition.
Yeah, even in Challenger back in the day, Cloud9 Eclipse, H2K, he was a player who had all of this potential to live up to very young, large champion pool and able to pick things up so quickly. So Febibin, I think, was an amazing pickup for Fnatic in retrospect, and he's only just grown, and he hasn't shown us just even the tiniest bit of what he's capable of doing. This guy has years left in his career, in my opinion.
Well, now, of course, taking a look at their opponents, AHQ, what happened day one versus Cloud9?
They played a very all-or-nothing composition. They wanted to set up a split push. They put the Rengar there to start feeding their solo laners. It's risky to do that because they had no wave clear. Now, C9 set up a heavy siege composition, so once Mountain's Rengar totally failed to do pretty much anything, they were set up just to siege. There was nothing AHQ could do, very short game. When you get those two kind of compositions going against each other, it's going to be feast or famine on either side. If Rengar had worked, we could have easily seen a very quick game with AHQ split pushing and solo killing people in the side lanes. So AHQ needs to mix it up. I just think Mountain needs to calm down, play a champion he's actually played in the last season and the last split, and we'll see what they offer from there.
Yeah, it was a very slow, painful process for them. It felt like AHQ was learning during the game, but every death was a lesson. It's 300 gold, 600 gold. We're learning 2 lessons here. What does Veigar E do? What does that do to us? How many stuns? What does my R do as Rengar? It took them so long to figure it out, and they didn't have it even close to down by the end of the game, and that's what cost AHQ. I want to see them go back to comfort.
I also feel like those teams were backwards, like Cloud9 get their bottom lane advantage and transition into the mid lane, whereas on the side of AHQ, they try and give everything down to Arn, and Arn never got rolling. Nothing ever transitioned to that guy. He had a second item QSS and was doing no damage whatsoever. So looking for him to step up in this game, really get going.
All right, well, that's what we're looking for. Last time today, guys, got to put you in the hot seat. Who are we looking at to take this game?
I think that Fnatic are phenomenal at the moment. I think that they can go very deep in this tournament. I think they'll win the game.
Yeah, I don't think there's any argument. Even if it was the same AHQ that we saw at MSI, I would still pick Fnatic here. Especially when we've seen everybody in this group now, and we've seen Cloud9, we've seen IG. I'd be actually quite surprised at this stage if Fnatic didn't 6-0.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think Fnatic is a superior team right now, working as a team and individually across the board. I think Febibin, we've talked about him a lot. I think he holds up against the door very handily and has more control mages up his sleeve, too. So he's flexible and champion select, too.
All right, much more in line this time around. We'll see if the hometown favorites can bring it home. We're going to throw it over to our casters for the play-by-play on the way. Reckless's short time at Worlds last year has taught him to take it one game at a time.
I think last year we were actually quite confident. I'm not sure if it was because it was my first Worlds and that we were, even though we finished second in our region, we were kind of still somewhat dominant. Therefore, going into Worlds, I wasn't really sure actually what to expect because it was my first one. And I think I was maybe a bit even overconfident. I was expecting to get certain things which didn't happen. Therefore, I was just kind of heartbroken at times, even when the group wasn't over yet. So I would say this year I'm kind of more down to earth, perhaps. I take game by game, day by day, and then we'll see where we go from there.
And welcome back, guys. Once again, it's our final game of the day here on day 3 of the 2015 World Championships. AHQ versus Fnatic. It's time to check out the lineups, guys. Good. I am so psyched about this one. For AHQ, these guys really need to step up. Got taken down earlier in the top lane. It's Ziv, of course. Down in the jungle, it is Mountain. In the mid lane, it's the door, West door. At ADC, it's On. And down at Coach, or at support, it's Albus. How could I skip the support? And it's Coach, it's backstairs.
Yeah, don't forget them. And obviously, they're going up against the favorite here in this group, Fnatic, and many crowd favorite here is overall. We hear them already. Huni will be starting in the top lane here. Definitely crowd favorite. Jungle, Rainover, obviously. Mid laner, a talent. Analyst has touched on Feven performing very well. Reckless, back to Fnatic right here, performing incredibly well. And then Yellowstar, the French guy here, but all under the mighty coaching of Daylor. Fantastic job that he's done with his, honestly, very rookie lineup.
Yeah, but such a good start for them against IG day 1. They need to be able to keep that up because of the stumbles of IG. It's the 6-0 just predicted. I wonder how much of that's going into their heads. Oh, maybe this is easy now. They have to keep focused.
Yeah, IG will be watching this, and they want Fnatic to win this.
Yeah, I mean, this is insane, right? Fnatic coming in, #1 in Europe, looking so good here already in Worlds. And this crowd, I mean, they've got the hometown hype going for sure. This crowd has never been louder than it is right now for this Fnatic team. Listen to these guys. I think we know who they're cheering for.
Yeah, Yellowstar. Crowd favorite here.
Definitely.
If there's any player for me that deserves a deep run in the tournament, it has to be Yellowstar. The amount of things that he has given up personally just to reach this amount of success, because he has been at every World Finals, consistently high performer in multiple roles overall, and just what he brings to the table as a player, regardless of mechanics. We often call it like intangibles, whether you actually believe in that or not. I really think he deserves to be here, and I hope he gets a deep run.
Well, here we go, guys. Picks and bans for AHQ versus Fnatic. Azir banned out against Febivim right off the bat. There's a Gangplank ban from Fnatic.
Yeah, Fnatic had quite a unique draft in day 1. Hecarim top lane and Shen support, so a bit of a throwback to champions that weren't necessarily seen on the playoff patches. But what's interesting about this is AHQ is a team that had the most time off of any team at Worlds before arriving here, and they have not appeared to adapt well to the new game. So I wonder if it was a stubbornness on their part or if they just need a little while to warm up.
They'll definitely need to look for a comfortable pick on Mountain. That is the way a lot of teams think Fnatic can potentially crack. Get a stronger jungler on your jungler player, and then try and shut down Rainover, who is actually the support for all these lanes. Once you get him down, then you can start tackling that wealth of individual talent in all these lanes.
Well, and Elise can do exactly that. A very strong first pick for AHQ. Does leave a lot of power picks open for Fnatic, though.
Elise was banned by Cloud9 against AHQ, so this is a logical pick.
Look at Rainover.
It's a bit troll.
I'll show you how it's done, kid.
Get in the opponent's mind.
Oh, yes. Remind him.
Now, very often we see some juggernauts here locked in. You know, Darius being picked up early rotation. Is Fnatic going to do the same thing?
I mean, we saw Darius win in our last game, right? But the win wasn't because of Darius. I feel like we haven't seen really any wins where you could say the win was because of that Darius. Looks like they're going to take it anyway, though. Huni is a pretty strong top laner.
He can still be a cog in the machine, and this is one of the first times in the draft phase already we're seeing some already inherent built-in synergy with the Darius. As far as team fights, the assistance for him to get involved is aided by the Sivir.
Also, Sivir, generally a passive laner that can get through most matchup by just farming, which means you can redirect your attention from the game to the Darius, and you touched about that earlier, Jan, how Darius gets pick priority but doesn't get game priority. Fnatic already looking to do that with this draft.
Meanwhile, AHQ thinking about picking up that Gnar.
It really feels like Gnar is the default pick against Darius.
It is. I mean, he's got the range. You can kite it a little bit. You can harass Darius a lot in range despite that little heal off the Q. Not too surprising to see that picked up. No more Renekton, apparently. Gnar's the go-to pick for everybody here. Outside of SKT, anyway.
Not everyone can be Marin, unfortunately.
That is true. Jinx possibly picked up as well. Looks like the timer will count down, and yep, it will be Gnar and Jinx locked in.
I like it. With Cocoon and traps available, you already have a decent amount of peel to keep that Darius away from your team. Jinx, hyper carry necessary. I do think teams, whenever they pick a Nanar into Darius matchup, they actually lock in too much split push, like we saw IG2. They went for like a 1-3-1, and it seems to be incredibly hard to play at the world stage. So more teamfight-oriented picks could be big.
Febiven teasing a Riven pick here.
Before he became a professional player, Febiven was actually a very big Riven main. Obviously, his real name is Fabian, Riven, Febiven. That's potentially where it comes from. He was a Riven one-trick pony. He may actually end up playing a Veigar here. We'll see, but...
Will they actually even pick a mid laner right now?
I feel like the majority of these hovers are just taunting AHQ about their game yesterday.
True, that's actually true. The Veigar was played against him. No, I think we've deducted the champ select. This is why we don't talk about hovers.
Yeah.
No, we can, because it's all about the mind games, right? The hovers front. See, the hovers in Korea are pretty much there to just control the Korean caster Cloud Templar. And he
Jungle Olaf as well. Give it a second.
Maybe. Yeah.
Rain over special.
All right.
Rain over special. It's what he was the pretty much only person to play Olaf jungle. Already the inbuilt synergy with the Sivir, so they're building very heavily around this.
Well, Jinx is going to have a lot of people running out of that. She's going to have a hard time stopping.
Actually wasn't too big of a fan traditionally of Annie as a support, but her value seems to be pretty high in this World Finals where she just provides instant hard CC.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of these teams have been looking for. A lot of these fights could go different ways. Could still see no Kalista actually this game.
Well, you're trying to get on the Jinx, right? And I mean, where you've already got the top lane picked, you can't go to like a Malphite or anything right now unless it's a rare Malphite support. So this makes sense. Put Olaf in the jungle.
Wouldn't mind to see a Morgana here, honestly, coming out of the Albus here. Black shielding that Jinx, keeping her alive. No axes, no Annie stun available. Kiting those Juggernauts.
Oh boy. Fizz, but the Tom Kench, it's the seafood duo.
Unbench the
Picked up
Kench.
by HQ. Unbench the Kench.
Yeah, Westar goes back to Fizz yet again. It's expected it was banned against him almost every game during the regular season. In the LMS, it was countered yesterday by a nice pushing comp, and Fnatic has been spectacular in rotations. If Febiven picks a somewhat safe, long-range, wave-clearing mage, it would fit right into what Fnatic wants to do.
Zilean would be an unlikely choice, but something that perhaps could handle that Fizz. You know, I mean, the Veigar, we saw it work really well into the Fizz last time. You know, is Febiven willing to play that kind of champion?
Does the composition really require a Veigar? He has so many more options that he could play. Veigar is tricky. Westar obviously has learned his lesson. Hope he knows that matchup a little better.
Feels like a Victor game.
I agree.
Any game feels like a Victor game.
What about a Yorick game, guys? No. No. Oh, okay. I was going to say. Orianna makes a bit more sense.
Move speed.
There we go. All right.
Also more shielding for assassination.
Very well-rounded composition here from Fnatic.
Yeah.
The weaknesses of Olaf and Darius as champions, obviously, that they can't get to their targets. Double movement speed steroids here, a support that can lock the enemy in place. Obviously, will rely on being eaten up by his support, save him out of that damage.
And I'm thinking about the way AHQ wants to play this game. They need Ziv and Westor actually to have pretty strong laning phases because they need split put pressure in order to get flanks for some team fights. I really do wonder, Fnatic is such a good team as a unit with all the move speeds synergizing with the two champions that want to just run straight at the enemy.
Also, just look at the innate amount of wave clear that Fnatic has ready. Even Olaf with a couple axes puts a wave lower. Orianna instant clear wave. Sivir instant clear wave. The hardest part for HQ will be their wave clear. AoE rockets from Jinx is their best wave clear tool. That is really rough if you get any amount of gold behind.
Now we saw the Bard from IG. Now we're seeing the Tom Kench from AHQ. Are one of these slightly more unorthodox support picks going to work? Obviously, the Bard didn't do it. We'll see if Tom Kench can pull some slack, pull the line, I would say. If you had Tom Kench on the line, you'd probably get away with it.
Crepper, have you saved any like Tom Kench jokes?
There's a bunch of unbench to Kench memes, but we're going to let Twitch chat fill that one up, hopefully.
All right, well, guys, if you are on your phone, you want to use that Twitter hashtag AHQWin if you think they can take it, or hashtag FNCWin over to @LOL Esports. Let us know what you think as we move into our final game of the day here on day 3 of the League of Legends 2015 World Championships. AHQ versus Fnatic. It's time to get onto the rift.
If you're unfamiliar with Tom Kench overall, his job is really to be a pesky nuisance and peel. To stop people from getting to your AD carry. If they do, then disengage, eat up the AD carry. We may see another aggressive 5v5 here, though. Yellowstar instantly charging up that stun.
He is one of, when played well, he is one of the most annoying supports to play against. It's almost like The way it feels when trying to kill a support when they have a Kalista on their team is like trying to kill an AD carry when they have a Tom Kench on their team. You go farm, Kench eats it, has all this great health, you feel like you're wasting your time trying to hit him, then the AD carry gets spit out in the other direction.
So is it dinner time for AHQ?
30 seconds until minions.
I wonder, a little bit of wards going down, some very, very safe fanning going on from both of these teams here at level 1.
Mountain and Ziv, those guys really need to snowball their matchup, really. Get that top lane ahead. Mountain needs to get some aggressive ganks off. Olaf, no flash. If you catch him in the jungle early when he's low, you definitely can kill him.
Yeah, a little bit of a slightly late invade, but again, you know, no real deep wards for either of these teams. As it looks like we will have a bit of a jungle follow early on. Do you think they're going to send Huni down to the bot lane right away, or is he going to stick with Reignover for a bit?
Pretty much every team starts with at least a 2-camp double jungle as far as top laner and jungler go. Even if there's no lane swap, it's more efficient because the junglers save damage and the top laner is able to go to lane with extra potions.
Look what Reckless and Yellowstar are doing though. They're not going for Krugs. They may secure a 3rd quadrant here for Fnatic overall, the way this lane swap could play out, because HQ 4-man starting in their safest quadrant overall.
It's true, HQ is getting mind gamed a little bit here. Depends which. No, Fnatic's not going for a camp at all. They were expecting a start in that quadrant and were looking to harass instead of just starting on a grump. That could have been really huge.
And then obviously Reignover and Huni are just going to continue double jungling. No reason for Huni to go to that bot lane when there's so many camps available. Yellowstar is just on scouting duty. That's all he needs to do. Find and locate the enemy jungler. Now he's potentially counter-ganking some level 2 cheese here in the mid lane.
Good try for this early gank here. He's got that stun loaded up. Could go for a flash W or something. Or just walk in and try to get the flash out of Westor. Reignover coming over too. Westor already getting very low. He hits level 2.
Yeah, Westor smartly playing towards his strong side of the map where all his allies are, so would have been really hard for the Yellowstar to actually get something on that. But I love what Fnatic did right here, shortcutting the double jungle. And it's going to be a dragon, but the tempo loss for AHQ is huge here. As far as gold and experience goes, Fnatic is going to have a really big edge on this, as well as they're going to get control of 3 of the major buffs.
They can even, they can send Huni top right now, push in the tower relatively delayed. Reignover can return to his jungle with all 3 camps and the Scuttle Crab still available. Whereas at the opposite side of the map, there's only a Grump left for HQ to take, so very big tempo swing.
Yeah, early dragon taken by AHQ, but Fnatic responding with a lot of pressure here in this top lane. We'll see if AHQ can get any sort of semblance of equalization down in bot. It's going to take a long time.
Yeah, I've seen these trades go a lot of different ways. If a team is snowballing really heavily, it almost adds insult to injury to the team that didn't take the dragon, but that's after they make a mistake. If Fnatic plays this properly, they will hold an advantage, and by the time the next dragon comes around, they would be able to capitalize on that advantage, just due to the extra golden experience they gained while the 3-minute dragon was being taken by HQ.
Last game, Huni forgot to take that tower down. If you remember, he left it on a couple of hits. This time, they're guaranteeing, they're sharing the gold too. Reckless needed a little more gold for his item. Huni, that wave is being bound, so he can safely farm. He's not going to be punished in this Gnar Darius matchup, as many top laners have so far.
Yeah, and all of this with the bottom turret for Fnatic really not taking any damage. Oh, the Q stops Reckless from going back. Reckles.
Technically, it is written Reckles.
Yeah.
It is. You spell it phonetically.
All the way back in his first major tournament, IPL 5, the Reckles and Reckless debate was in full swing. I still want to call him Reckles, but I've just gotten so used to calling him Reckless because he says so.
That's one of the things about esports, is that you don't really always know how these guys are going to pronounce their names. Like, try casting in Korea sometimes, man. We had Gorilla go from Gorilla to Galira, back to Gorilla again. Expression, we're like, all right, it's misspelled Expression. We're just calling. No, he wants to be called Expression. It's not easy sometimes.
Actually, due to
do you call him AN or AN? You just gotta go with it.
If there was an H, I'd call him On more.
Interesting though, the way HQ interrupted them completely changed their Reckless state. Huni went around.
Reignover right there. Actually, Ziv comes back in. Where's that flash? He's gone. First blood goes to Reignover. Whoops.
That was huge, and specifically credit to Huni for getting the apprehend during the Gnar jump. We've seen so many Darius Gnar ganks be attempted where that apprehend does not catch the Gnar, but Huni was able to do it.
HQ felt comfortable because Albus canceled 2 backs, and they thought Huni was actually being swapped down to the bot lane, but they actually just pathed it around together with Reignover. Lulled Ziv into a fake sense of security and then punished that. That was actually a very creative play there by Fnatic. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, on and call him whatever you want. He's just freezing, not putting any pressure. A 4-man roam.
Westdoor takes the south door out of the mid lane to try to escape with his life. Won't need to burn any summoners, it looks like.
It's an effective door to take.
It is.
Yeah, here. I do have to mention that the 80 carry priority for AHQ is really huge, and the fact that they've forfeited so much and still not gained a major advantage for and over Reckless is disastrous for AHQ. As far as 80 carry CS differential at 10 minutes goes, AHQ had the highest of any team at Worlds with over 10 coming into this. And Reckless is actually a pretty conservative laner. So if AHQ was going to win something, it would have been that 80 carry matchup. But with the way these lane swaps are being engineered, Fnatic is just winning across all fronts.
Huni hasn't gotten that much CS though. He's still even CS here with Ziv overall because of the way
Got a lot more gold,
play in a top lane
globally,
campaign. Yeah, obviously he was part of that first spot, so he's definitely in a comfortable position. Overall, just due to the level 1 start, HQ, they did something you really can't afford to do on the world stage, which is a single quadrant start jungle with no backup plan.
Jeez, it's like a 2K gold lead already for Fnatic at just under 7 minutes. Can't really go too much worse for AHQ. They're going to need to really play it out perfectly for like the next 10 minutes at least if they want to come back in this game.
Yeah, and at the very least, push down the turret. They're leaving it up. They're not getting any gold influx to them right now, and they're stuck in these defensive lanes. Maybe their hope is that the next time Fnatic tries to push a turret, they can win a fight because they're still technically CSing pretty well as a team. They're just losing out hugely on objective gold.
I mean, CSing well as a team, but I mean, that means they're keeping up. You know, they're not ahead. They need turrets. They need that gold.
I agree.
Febvin getting a little bit more for himself. And gonna grab that blue buff too.
This is the part of the matchup where you actually can start pushing out pretty aggressively. You can sustain push from the Orianna. Forcing Fist to wait clear under his turret obviously keeps him down. He does just bring the Ignite to the table. Febvin will need a clutch cleanse there to get out of that.
A Rainover getting a ward down in the enemy jungle too. I mean, Febvin is so extremely safe in this lane right now.
The crowd is cheering for every successful Febvin CS.
Yeah, he got one. It's more gold. Is he going to do it? 2 at once here. It's a possibility.
Whoa!
So good.
Right. Mesmerizing.
That Febvin. Faker who?
Watch him CS.
I love this crowd. This is, I think this is actually the best crowd I've ever seen live. These guys are so excited about everything. I love it.
Mostly instigated by the in-house casters here, Chips and Y.
Dude.
The band of merriment that they brought to the table too. So fantastic audience here.
Every time I've come to France for an event, it has been amazing. I've done it, I think this is my 4th time here, and the crowds are just always mind-blowing.
Need some more Pantheon, but we'll get to that potentially. Alright, Huni now CSing on the tower. Actually doing a phenomenal job as the crowd indicates. That's up to single one.
They're actually getting most of the CS.
Huni, you're fired.
Can I hire this crowd when I'm playing solo queue? I need those kinds of cheers. Well, Reckless might be in a little bit of trouble. No, just spell shields is right through the flame chompers, takes some damage. Oh, the rocket misses!
This is very deceptive for the players because every time they hear a cheer, they're like, what are they cheering for?
Whoa, Ziv pulled in. He doesn't have his flash. He needs to be careful here, trying to get away. Activates that Hyper Rainover, being chased back by Westdoor, who comes up. Huni back under turret now, so a little bit too much pressure to go after that kill.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the Westdoor roams. Unless that pays off, it's going to be heavily punished. Febvin already with pressure in the mid lane. Going to take a chunk out of that mid turret. HQ has to answer with at least a turret at the top.
Yeah, roaming always brings a very large opportunity cost, especially if the enemy laner isn't even chunked out. Febvin, full resources, can just continuously keep shoving here. Reckless getting poked by these zaps.
Huni taking some damage. Mountain doing it, trying to get that execute. Ziv trying to get there. Huni in big trouble, and Mountain gets the kill.
This is something we've seen Huni do before. When his team is slightly ahead, he just doesn't quite respect his opponents just enough and ends up dying on another very predictable manner. So Huni needs to shore that up in his play. Fantastic 1v1 clutch player, but then these slow, very predictable reganks, he sometimes still falls to.
One of the only ways that AHQ comes back in that is if Huni gives up a kill. And that's what that was. It was a giving of a kill.
Very true.
Because it was very easy to concede that turret and the team would still come out ahead now.
He's going to be able to catch up in a lot of CS because of the wave that he's getting at the moment, but still, I mean, he needs to be careful that he doesn't fall too far behind again.
Just look at that mid lane, 30 CS, that was the cost of that roam, so you really want to get that value somehow. Also, that mid lane tower, that is some hidden cost. Once that one falls, that swings the game open, especially wave clear mids. Against non-wave clear mids with the tower down, gives you so much pressure advantage. Deep vision becomes even easier to place.
Huni is pushed up really far.
Oh, over the wall, goes for the execute, gets dodged by the rappel. He's coming back down. Oh, doesn't hit him with the E, and Huni in a little bit of trouble. Teleport coming in, Tom Kench trying to join the fray. Huni gets taken down by Mountain yet again, but it's a kill on both sides as Rainover comes in. He's in danger of getting eaten here, though. He's got the two blue buffs knocked against the wall, and Albus comes in to help it out, getting bloodthirsty, picks him up, spit him out. Albus getting the kill.
Steals a kill.
Why would
If you have the stacks, you have to press W. You even saw him hesitate.
Dude, did you know Tom Kench can eat people? Why would you not ever do that?
Why would you ever not do that? Because Zib doesn't eat kills on a top lane, clearly.
Yeah, Tom Kench does. You got that right.
Yeah.
I will agree
Tom
with that
Kench is
analysis.
technically a top laner too. Maybe they can just role swap, you know. Our support, Tom Kench top lane comes out.
I think people are mistaking his name. It's Tom Kench, it's not Top Kench. He's not meant to go into top lane. I don't care what you say. Support. We claim him. We supports claim Tom Kench.
Either way, that's a couple of kills that Huni's given up.
Yeah.
And it's sneaking AHQ back into this game. The mid lane is down, so the pressure should actually be near its higher point for Fnatic. And the grouping is closing in around this Dragon number 2 as well as bot lane turret. But Huni is still in the top lane without a teleport, and it actually gives Dragon control to AHQ.
In all seriousness, that was as we see Rainover being challenged here now in his own jungle. Like, I could almost call it a tilty play from Huni. He dies and he wants to teleport deep to just get a counterplay 2v1 with no backup. Yes, Rainover comes in, but then the Abyssal Voyage brings in Tom Kench, and it wasn't necessary, not at all. And this is not really the style we've seen Fnatic develop. Slow, calculated, meticulous. That's the way they've played in Summer Split. This scene more Fnatic of Spring. Rash, you know, all in. Huni trying to mechanically outplay people instead.
Yeah, they need to calm down. They need to calm down, and it seems like that's kind of what they're doing now. Nice spell shield by Reckless to absorb that torch from Jinx, which doesn't seem like it hurt much anyway, but might as well get the mana. Ziv.
Man, he's not pulling ahead.
Yeah.
It is a very straightforward matchup to play. Stay out of his apprehend range.
Yep.
That is TLDR in our Darius matchup.
Oh, Mountain trying to make a play with Albus onto Rainover here. Rainover, I mean, what a career he's had since he moved to Europe. I mean, in Korea, he wasn't known for being a great player. They called him Game Over because he really, you know, that was it. You got him on your team, it was game over. Big change for this guy, coming to Europe, making a name for himself.
Still game over, just in the other direction. 18-0 with Fnatic in the regular season.
That was game over in a good reason. Well, maybe not this game, but we'll see. It's still very close. Fnatic still with the gold lead, but that might change as this turret looks like it could go down fairly soon.
And this was the initial lane stuff tower HQ decided not to take down at all. So they really want to keep that lane, even be able to bounce back the waves on. Didn't feel comfortable playing in a long lane, but so far they're hanging out. The gold hasn't really changed all too much.
He's got the safety of Tom Kench behind him. He also has a pickaxe advantage on Reckless as far as straight AD is concerned. The only danger would be a yellow star all in with some gank potential, but they're very happily taking small chunks out of that turret.
And those plays on the top lane, that lack of pressure has kind of locked up yellow star too, because he's now stuck dealing in that bot lane, keeping Reckless in the lane, but traditionally we've seen a lot of roams come out of yellow star. Him together with Rainover at this point in the game, you would very often see them roaming, but HQ, they have some really good vision control. Look at those 2 pink wards and 1 extra up top. Like the base position of pink wards have been filled, so HQ a lot better position in this game compared to last.
I'd agree. You know, one interesting thing about this game, too, is that the kills haven't exactly gone to where the teams would prefer them on. A couple to the junglers, one to the support.
All right, both those pink wards,
Ward.
they're gone.
I guess so.
Well, there's that. And
There's
immediately HQ actually has to retreat.
You feel the pressure.
Because they have no vision within their own jungle, which makes an incredible feeling of pressure right there. Because if they stay under the turret, for all they know, they could be getting 4-mendo.
Hello, Darkness, my old friend. Get back to base, pick up some items. This does finish it very early.
But even to go back and get the wards, it's still dangerous. Unless they can actually see Fnatic recalling. But if Fnatic plays this right, they will recall and fall.
Now looks like it's going to be a turret for Fnatic.
That's actually something.
3-0 now.
That is something EDG does incredibly well when you watch them play. They abuse Fog of War to their advantage so much, and I hate it when I see people base in full vision because you just give your opponent so much free information.
Yeah.
Top level teams, that is often the difference.
You basically say, hey, you know what? If you want to come to this part of the map, you can. It's fine. You're safe for a little while. That's not something you want to do. HQ looking to respond with a turret of their own. They'll be able to take the top one, but that is their first turret of the game. They do have the 2 dragons, though.
And that bot tower could fall down soon, too.
Yeah, really could. There's a chance that HQ has held out pretty well from the early game pressure disadvantage they opted into with that dragon. the mistakes that Huni granted can almost slingshot AHQ ahead if they are able to win a team fight of some kind.
And remember, Westor is a very good assassin split push player on that Fizz.
Whoa,
on the
Timber
gets
ult.
popped.
They're going after him here. Westor gets stunned by that Timbers. Could be in trouble. Turning around as the teleport comes in for AHQ. Ziv is there as well, too. That's a kill for Westor. Fnatic getting Reckless as Reckless tries to escape. They come in, they get a kill, but it looks like they'll pay for it. Jinx Rocket, non-consequential. Huni flashes. Can he actually catch Ziv? No, he can't. He's about to go Meganar. Here comes Tom Kench. Not going to be able to catch Huni.
Here comes.
You know, he could just pick up Ziv and run after him. He's got that move speed, but it doesn't look like they're going to go for it.
The way Westor turned around there was actually incredibly smart. Like, he saw the teleports and he turned around to finish Annie, and then somehow Ziv stayed alive 3v2 long enough. Impressive play here from AHQ.
That's a turret too for AHQ, and Fnatic in a lot of trouble now.
And this could be the slingshot. HQ fell back in the early game, and now they're flying ahead of Fnatic because of the mistakes Huni made and that nice play by Westor, as well as the globals there enacting the teleport from Ziv and the Tom Kent just to make some safety at the end of this fight.
Let's watch that again. Just keep your eyes on here how Westor decides. His teleport is coming behind him. Huni teleports ahead of him, so he has to turn around. They finish off Yellow Star, and then they turn to Reckless. 2 for 2 would be actually a decent trade here, considering that they fight 2v3, but actually ends up just being a 1v2 here. Kill trades, and then Ziv still survives.
Yeah. Really nice jump.
And forces the flash.
Barely outrange.
Or gets the flash, you know.
Yeah.
Tomato.
Technically, he forced flash because it was used.
We talked about Huni.
Have no cooldowns, it's flash.
I mean, we talked about Huni waiting, of course, to use that apprehend until the hop started. He didn't that time. He used it really early, right after he got in, and that made it easy for Ziv to escape.
Especially if you look at the weaknesses of this AHQ composition, we touched on it in the draft already. No wave clear at all. But because they're actually still even in the lane, they can put...
Whoa, big shockwave brings in on an Albus. Albus eats his buddy, keeps him safe.
Say they can put on mid without anything to worry about. Still have to worry about that shockwave.
Well, he's a bit slimier, but he's alive. That's the important thing.
And these are the trade-offs that Westor makes in almost all of his games. He almost always loses CS in order to try and create kills and pressure on the other side of the map. But mid laners in the LMS are not nearly as good at punishing this as there are at Worlds. Febiven with a 70 CS advantage, only 18 minutes in. And despite the kill, 1,300 gold up.
Uh-oh. Mountain gets slowed down by that undertow, trying to get away. Westor coming from the side, Mountain with the repel. Albus trying to get in there. He's going to flash over the wall, pick up his friend here. Yellowstar in a lot of trouble. Going to go down. Westor gets the kill. Gets taken out, though, as Huni comes in. It's a brawl. There's the zone. He's used by Febivim. It's another kill for Rainover. Ziv still a touch from the side. A lot of members low for Fnatic. That's kills all over for AHQ. Meanwhile, Huni still going at it with On. He gets the kill. 4 on both sides. It's a top laner battle. Huni trying to catch Ziv, and Ziv just going to run away. Are they still going to go in? No. So 4 for 4.
Couple teamfight mistakes in this fight still. Febiven flashed into a wall, and then AHQ committing so hard to kill the support Yellowstar after he's already used Tibbers. Questionable move there by Westor, spending his ultimate for that, but overall a 4 for 4 trade. So,
and this is not the controlled game many were expecting after Fnatic strangled out IG 2 days ago in the first game here at Worlds. This fight in particular, total chaos, really. The annoyance of Tom Kench showing true here, flashing over the wall just to eat, and that prolongs the fight. So yes, Westor went on a bad target, but it was the target his fish landed on, and he's really just trying to get kills to start his gold lead off. The big thing here was the way the front lines were playing. On was really close to resetting this fight, but Huni was at least in the right position to zone him out. Chaos in the backside.
And that failed flash. If everyone went over the wall, he could have killed Mountain, but Mountain had time to get out of spider form. In that case, turn around and actually finish him off. So Ziv has been shown really good distance management.
HQ's going to want to fight over this dragon right away.
They do. They don't want them to get it. Fnatic gets it anyway. There's going to be a fight. Fish onto Yellowstar yet again. On coming in from the side. Unopposed. Rainover trying to get to him with that Ragnarok. A kill comes in already for Fnatic. Ziv getting low. Finally, Albus so healthy with that Greyhound. Not anymore. That's a double kill for Reckless. Yellowstar finally gets taken out. It's a triple kill, though, for Reckless. And finally, Huni takes him. There's a double kill for Ziv, though, on the other side. It's nearly an ace. Once again, a big brawl, but this time 2 for 3 in favor of Fnatic.
LMS teams, in particular AHQ, are never willing to give up a dragon for nothing. So they go in really hard despite the dragon being down. And also, we just talked about Westor's target selection. He again all-ins Yellowstar and actually does not have the burst yet to even one-shot. So he is a complete non-factor in this fight, and it negates the advantage the other members of AHQ may have had.
Yeah, watch that again. If he had a Zhonya's, this is an okay move, but because he doesn't stun into Boomerang and one-shot, Westor completely useless in this fight. And Odd, he really needs some healing. Good shockwave from Featherman.
Yeah, and then you can see the Super Mega Death Rocket almost take them out for On, but Featherman sits at full health for pretty much the whole fight, and Ziv is unable to dodge the outside of the Darius Q on that occasion, which ends up trading the shutdown gold to Huni.
Speaking of Darius, he's getting some items, he's getting some kills. Huni much more relevant now than he was a couple minutes ago.
Only 1,000 gold, roughly behind 900 right now, and more importantly, he finished his core build. Black Lever and Deadman's Blade, that's all he needs in these team fights for Darius, so he doesn't really care that he's behind Ziv in particular, because Fnatic as a whole, as a team, they team fight way better. So HQ need to go back to this 1-3-1 split push again and find individual skirmishes, because Fizz is one of the strongest 1v1 assassins that they have here in this game.
You know, I gotta say too, Albus is not making a huge difference at the moment on this Tahm Kench. I mean, when it comes to a big 5v5 team fight, he's just kind of walking around a little bit.
Particularly that last one when Fnatic had the setup.
Yeah.
Really evident. Tahm Kench has some nice capabilities of coming in on the backside of chaotic fights and creating a difference because of the duration in which he can make someone untargetable. But really, if Fnatic sets up that well and HQ jumps in, it's not good.
Yeah, good point there, because compare the utility of a Tibbers versus an Abyssal Voyage. Abyssal Voyage is good if you can relocate between lanes. Again, 1v1 split push. Get your more members to a different lane quicker than Fnatic can expect it. Whereas in team fights, Annie takes the cake right there. An AoE 4-man Tibbers can decide to fight. Abyssal Voyage, not so much.
We're only 22 minutes in, and Featherman has nearly 100 CS over Westor.
That's insane.
The kills are even. Westor has been trying to roam and make plays, but the goal difference is 2,100 in that mid lane, and if an Orianna gets ahead, it shuts down Assassin.
We're also averaging 1 kill per minute, something we did not expect from Fnatic coming into this match. HQ we did, Fnatic not so much.
It was such a tactical game for Fnatic in their match against IG. Here they are playing really crazy, honestly, being so aggressive, being overly aggressive at times, wanting to get in there for the skirmishing, and AHQ is answering. They're saying, all right, you want to fight? We'll fight too.
Yeah, Fnatic is defaulting back on a lot of really old habits in this game. So much of the spring split team was undisciplined, risky plays, and they completely cleaned it up for 3 to 4 months. But for whatever reason in this game, AHQ's has brought the old Fnatic back.
Well, I mean, they're lucky. Fnatic they're barely making it work at this point, but this game is so close. AHQ could still turn this around anytime.
That's the way, honestly, if you look at a team that is this crisp at Fnatic, you can take 2 approaches. Either you play the same crisp game style that you're not used to, or you bring them down to your level and you try and beat them with experience. And that is the approach. Controlled chaos here from AHQ, but they'll need some fancy moves right now because Fnatic, their fundamentals are still better. Their vision control, especially on this Baron buff, is just a lot more advanced than what HQ is used to.
Well, they're finally, Fnatic that is, getting a little bit of side wave control back in that top lane. We'll see what they can do in the bot lane with Huni here. This Ziv, this Gnar is still pretty fed.
Yeah, and Frozen Mallet, if he gets in split push scenarios, he can completely dominate Huni and then have some teleport advantage. You can see he's consistently pushed up on that side of the map.
Yep. Split push is almost set up for HP. They just need to get this wave in neutral or pushed in and then have a perfect 1-3-1. Unless Westar bases.
Now, Dragon is coming up in a minute 30.
Just everyone base.
Yeah, because Dragon's coming up in a minute 30, man. You gotta get ready to fight again.
Yeah, let's team fight that Dragon because our composition is totally built around that.
Oh, yeah.
It's exactly the way AHQ plays, whether or not their composition is built around it or not. The Dragon is where you team fight. And if you're not ready for that team fight, you are not winning those games.
It's like in that way they're 300, man. It's like, this is where we fight. This is where, well, we might die too, actually, but well, they'll die a little bit. That's how it's been going for AHQ.
11 to 11, something's got to give.
Like, what is your profession? And Tahm Kench is like, cooking. Like, no, you're supposed to say war. Sorry.
Does like eating.
Eating.
He does have a certain amount of swagger to his walk.
He does. He does. He has a jolly swagger, I would say.
On though,
I agree.
Outside of all the swagger, yeah, I'm glad you agree there, Jen. Has had some really good positioning overall. And kiting, even though not many people have been peeling for him, he's done a decent amount of damage with those AoE rockets in fight, and has really dodged quite a few, shockwaves and just sidestepped a lot of the abilities. So keep your eyes on him for the team fights.
Westor is the big name, but Ziv and On are the carries of this team, through and through. They also, became a much more powerful team when Mountain started jungling for the team and Albus moved down for support. So really, Westor is a cog in the AHQ machine, and he's trying to fulfill his role right here as a teamfight flanker, but he needs to make the right decisions. This time, if he pulls a backline move, at least he has the Zhonya's Hourglass, so this fight should be more interesting. Meganar is in the top lane as the dragon spawns, so they have a very finite window here.
No deep wards though. The jungle's on Krugs coming back right now, so very delayed on tempo here. Maybe they panic again.
Fnatic going for this dragon. Can the steal happen? Oh, he gets it. Mountain steals the dragon. That's not bad.
Don't have to fight for it. You could just steal it.
That works. Why not?
Genius.
All right.
They're one step ahead of us, Jack.
He had flash, he had the repel, it wasn't respected by Fnatic. They didn't use any spells to zone out. Honestly, I think they were too ready for AHQ to just pile in and fight them again.
Yeah.
They kind of forgot about the obvious play. That's the Elise steal who has an execute and therefore can outsmite your jungler.
I think you're absolutely right. Well, stun onto Zip. This may have not been wise to come down. You're going to take a lot of damage. Goes Meganar at the last second. Oh, here comes Westor looking for some kills. Misses his ultimate, though. Fade away from Reckless. Can he survive the playful trickster? He can with the flash. Mountain still harassing that AD carry. Oh, there's the damage. And there's the kill for Reckless. Meanwhile, a ton of kills for Fnatic as they chase away HQ. Zip force the flash. Huni didn't even hit the E. They can turn onto this Baron whenever they want.
Such good juking from Reckless, and he has faith in his own mechanical ability. You can see upgraded hits alacrity boots because he knows he has the mechanics to sidestep, and this just gives him that little extra edge. While everyone was trying to kill Reckless, the rest of Fnatic was cleaning up on the backside, and that's the game-changing moment in this game.
Yeah, such a fantastic play there. Ziv coming into harass, but Feven should have the zone control. Huni should get back to the Baron. That goes down.
I got it.
If we see that again, I want to see if he actually shielded that fish from Westor.
I wonder.
I think he did, and that means the fish will drop down. If you have the spell shield on, the fish will not latch onto you.
It was right on him. I mean, he must have, right?
Yeah, it looks like Westor did the dash to him and then fish right away to kind of cancel the cast animation, which normally locks it on. But Reckless, I think, saw it coming. We'll see in the replay.
And then somehow, the back end of that fight got completely slaughtered by Reynov and Huni. You can just imagine that Olaf and Darius had just had a fun time whacking away. Everybody was looking at Reckless, including AHQ.
Boy. Okay, here we go.
Brothers.
Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, it was a nice start by Ziv, considering how caught he was, to get the Gnar stun into the wall. And let's see Westor. It was point blank right on Reckless, but doesn't stick because of the spell shield.
Yellow Star does get taken out here, but...
And again, on the bottom end of your screen, you don't see it, but On is just getting wrecked there in the fight. Good shockwave from Febiven. And again, nobody is peeling for On. The composition is built actually around a hypercarry Jinx, but nobody's helping him in these teamfights.
Yeah, saying good luck to Jinx and like running off is not generally the best way to keep your ADC alive.
Yeah, and now Reckless has a QSS, so even if he doesn't spell shield the fish, he can QSS to drop it and still walk away. Not to mention, Febiven is kind of sneakily carrying this game. The amount of pressure he's put and CS he's picked up while Westor is attempting shenanigans is really giving Fnatic a huge edge.
He's had some great shockwaves in team fights, and Fnatic uses that Baron already to take out the tier 2 turret in mid.
Febiven has just overall become a very consistent force on Fnatic, and they can just lean on him even when one of these side lanes perhaps doesn't get the win they require. You can always rely on Febiven to have at least even or ahead CS, and then he can even just shine in teamfights. So Fnatic overall using that to their advantage.
Pretty sure this is the largest mid lane CS discrepancy yet.
Yeah, it's huge. It's massive. Just like the massive damage going down on that mid lane turret. AHQ, the desperation is real, man. Are they going to fight it? Not just yet. The turret goes down. Fnatic moves in with that Baron buff to try to go for the inhibitor. Huni tried to flash play there. Didn't work out, but they get the inhibitor.
There is some synergy on that basketball Darius with Orianna.
There can be.
Well, Sivir is down and the Darius flash, so HQ wouldn't mind a fight here. I wonder if they go.
Oh, Yellowstar has to flash away. Huni, or Zip rather, gets a Gnar out. They pull him in anyway. There's the fish onto Rainover. Still, the carries for Fnatic are okay, and that is going to mean the damage turns around. Double kill, though, for On.
That's the beginning of the resets.
That's right. Westor getting the kill, triple kill, and that is nearly going to be an ace. It will be the ace as Febiven finally gets taken out. Kill for Tom Kench, and AHQ gets a near clean ace.
I love the way On plays this fight. After his first kills, many Jinx players would just storm forward to get resets. He actually sidestepped one of the ball movements from Febiven, then went in for the play. At the end, we see how much damage that ball can do, because this is going to be an entirely different fight. But overall, Fnatic They stayed a little too long.
What a massive turn in this game.
Yeah.
That was such a huge gold swing. Not only are they getting 2 turrets off of this and an ace, those were shutdown kills on a lot of people, so that's an extra ignition of gold into that team. It's now a 1,000 gold game despite all of the punishment they'd taken early.
All right, let's check this one out. How did this all end up happening?
We have to remember that the flash on Darius was down as well as the Sivarald, so they can't actually disengage. Then Shockwave doesn't have much impact because of the pull by Westdoor, and On is untouched since Darius can't flash to get on him and because the Shockwave was used elsewhere.
Yeah, that 4-man stun from Ziv, even though he just hit one guy with the ulti, the follow-up there hits 4 people, stuns 4 people, and then On with some good respect there for the Orianna ball from Febiven.
Yeah.
They just clean up that fight, and we see just how important the cooldowns are for Fnatic's lineup in these fights.
You know, I feel like we've been seeing Huni all game long taking these excessively risky plays, like trying to get the flash engage. It's flashy, but you're already killing the inhibitor. Just be happy with that.
You always have to see what does that play generate in terms of objectives.
Yeah.
If the inhibitor's already down, why would you flash it? And then you look at the opportunity cost of that play. What can we lose if this goes wrong? Apparently a lot.
They lose the Baron buff, they lose the fight, they lose some turrets, but they come right back and take this bot lane tier 2. So Fnatic, despite the game getting a little bit closer, seems to have bounced back quite nicely. They've got the waves where they want them to.
Yeah, that was actually the first negative Baron power play of the tournament when Fnatic had Baron. They lost gold in the eventual exchange, but this Dragon is now huge. AHQ, if they get this, start the timer for 5th Dragon. Can Westdoor flank? Will be a huge question in this fight.
He's going to try.
Oh!
That's a ton of damage. That might be it right there. Okay, well, there's the answer to the question. Can they steal this Dragon, though? Mountain, I don't think he's even going to try it. It's only 2nd Dragon for Fnatic. It's a big one, but AHQ can let this go.
Yeah, they needed to. Febiven took Westdoor to half health before the fight
600
began.
ability power right now on Febiven already.
Slammed that door.
No more 5 Dragons, at least for another 12 minutes. If AHQ wanted to wait that long.
That's a long time, man. I mean, that would make this one of the longest games we've seen yet, if it goes that far. Fnatic, meanwhile, they've still got that pressure in the mid lane for the moment anyway. That inhibitor isn't going to come up for a little while yet. Probably not until after Baron comes up. Do you think that sounds right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Gonna be a while here.
It's true. Baron will be up. It's gonna be a little bit hard for AHQ to defend because they have to keep the mid lane pressured, which has been so easily pressured by Febiven up until now.
Yeah.
Also, Febiven just in these team fights, his shields, he's about to rank it up again. They're averaging around 450 to 460 HP that he can give off. Decent amount of cooldown reduction here, so that means a lot in these repetitive, in these slow extended fights, where if Fnatic can just avoid getting caught and just kite, they're just in such a prime position to take this game, regardless of what the gold actually means here.
Well, AHQ just taking care of their side of the map right now. They've cleared out most of the wards. They've gotten a little bit of vision around the Baron. What do you do if you're Fnatic? How do you make sure you secure this Baron?
You ward your flanks. That is the most important part right here. You can't get into any situation where either Ziv or Westdoor comes from behind, because both of them are either tanky enough or have the ability to stall you long enough, whether it's a Ziv ultimate or general tankiness, or a Zonia's Hourglass from Westdoor, for the rest of the HQ lineup to collapse.
Yeah,
and waiting to teleport in.
More importantly, Fnatic needs to calm down.
Yeah.
They have continually gotten an edge from smart play and then lost it with some foolish, almost nervous looking play.
Yeah, Huni waiting for Godot there almost in the bot lane, and it's getting him upset. Seen a couple there aggressive flashes from him where it just wasn't necessary at all.
Yeah, I mean, they've looked needlessly desperate in some of their plays today, needlessly frantic in some of their decisions, and I feel like this would be a much bigger lead for Fnatic if they had just played things a little bit more calmly. And Albus finds a pink ward.
As well as warding their flanks. I actually think it's good for Fnatic if they commit to running at someone.
Yep.
Every time there's a Sivir composition with Olaf and Darius, I literally just call it a run at the team composition.
Makes sense.
AHQ actually doesn't have that great disengage.
Huni has to teleport.
Oh man, has to teleport, but he takes it back up by the Baron. If they can use this to clear some wards, get some vision, they might be able to turn to their advantage.
Get some vision control, find someone, Sivarald, Orianna, Distortion, and just go.
Yep. Oh, they are going, not even bothering to clear all those wards. Baron getting lower, and HQ a little bit out of position here. Albus thinking of coming in, takes a big chunk from Febvin. They need to turn here. Baron's not dying soon enough. Here they go. Silver ult popped already. Febvin on the outside of the fight doing the damage. Ziv trying to get back there. A kill for him already. Huni not really doing a lot. And now AHQ, they've got Fnatic on the run. Reckless has to pop that spell shield. Big shockwave though. They could maybe turn it around. No, it's a double kill for Ziv even though he is out of the fight. Fnatic, though, they fought it to a bit of a standstill, but I think AHQ still came out ahead.
Yeah, AHQ may very well win this game in tremendous comeback fashion. Febiven is doing all that he can to make sure Fnatic doesn't lose this game, specifically in that play. If you're going to just run at them, why get yourself low at Baron in the first place? By starting it, they only weakened themselves for the eventual fight, and they ran headlong into Meganar. You have to be able to time it so he's not Mega.
Fnatic, they start a fight right now with imperfect vision right now. They get collapsed on by Meganar. Look at that ulti from Ziv here.
Yeah.
Even a 5-man shockwave is not going to make it because Albus did a really good job there eating his AD carry on max range damaging, and at this point, HQ have win the fight. They actually overstand a little bit into the shockwave, make it a little easy. Mountain jumps for no reason at all. They could have disengaged it, but overall, this is the very few times we see Fnatic play into their opponent's hands the way they have been doing this game.
Yeah, there was perfect rage bar management by Ziv right there. And Fnatic, if they're going to be making that play, they need to be able to track the rage bar of Ziv as well as just have better overall vision control. But they are playing a little bit frantic, and now they actually don't get to make controlled, reliable plays because the game is even. They're actually needing to take some risks now if they want to actually win this game.
Yeah, look at how heavy they invested in vision. Sivir ulti, Talisman of Ascension, and Righteous Glory. If you have that much itemization and picks invested in movement speed, then you really have to make it work.
And by the time you start losing the fights, the movement speed becomes irrelevant because you do not want to run into your own demise.
Yeah. Trying to hide in the Baron pit for the moment. They're going to start Baron, actually. No vision right there for AHQ. Going for it. They need to be ready to turn again, but taking more Baron damage.
I feel like we've seen this before.
We talked about. That's right. Oh, the ultimate's up. Huni tries to pull an Albus, doesn't get it. On doing some damage from the side. They back off a little bit earlier this time.
Potential rotation here mid, though. Fnatic do have an incredibly quick Baron, but this is what it seems like a panic Baron to me, and panic Barons are very symptomatic to poor shot calling, something we haven't seen from Fnatic at all.
Oh,
look
boy.
at the mid lane.
The standoff.
Westdoor is pushing without teleport, so we'd have to make it down really quickly. And Fnatic, their Baron's actually not that quick, so he might make it back for this fight. Ziv does not have Meganar.
He's there already.
Fnatic is low on 2 tanks.
He's back there going in there trying to rush down Ziv and Mountain, but here comes On and Albus as well. Westdoor, Playful Tricksters doesn't get the damage. Fnatic still posturing around this Baron. The dance continues.
On very confident in his support there. He gets grabbed there by the Apprehend, but Albus says, well, I'll just eat my AD carry and it'll be K.
Yeah.
Spits him out again. And hesitation there on Fnatic's side too. They could have engaged on, but they're so afraid of that time Kench Devour. They really don't want to commit to it.
This game is so close, but Westdoor putting the pressure on the mid lane. When he comes back to clear, he doesn't have that teleport yet though, and now HQ going for that crucial 4th dragon.
It's looking better and better for AHQ, but this is really anyone's game. It's become so tense here at 38 minutes.
Yeah.
But in terms of styles, AHQ is forcing Fnatic to dance to their tune. This is AHQ's preferred playstyle overall. This is not what we've been used to seeing from Fnatic.
Well, AHQ, they've got 4 dragons now. They've got pressure on. Now you do have to get a bit frantic if you're Fnatic, you know, right? Now you do have to try to take some of those risky fights. You cannot let AHQ get that 5th dragon.
6 minutes remain.
Ziv has also been showing what a good top laner he can really be.
Yeah, he is having a phenomenal game on Gnar, 8, 2, and 11.
This spacing just in general, rage bar management and spacing on Gnar is the 2 most important things you can do, and he does it beautifully. Every fight so far he's come in with at least a good solid Gnar ulti if he wasn't follow-up stun, and his rage has always been ready.
There's fairly limited disengage for AHQ to prevent Fnatic from running at them, but pretty much every time Fnatic has tried to group in a team fight, he's landed a massive Meganar against the assaulting members of Fnatic.
Yeah, Ziv really has gotten so big here. They're going to go in again, trying to jump onto Ziv. Rainover really fast. They're going to turn onto Albus. They've got him a bit separated, but he's still tanky with that gray health. Going to go down, though, and Rainover barely lives. This could open up a Baron, though, for AHQ. Ult popped out by Westdoor. Fevin pops that Zhonya. Can he live through it right in the Flame Choppers? Big shockwave, though. AHQ still with the edge as Rainover and the rest of Fnatic make a run for it. There's a double kill for Westdoor. This one looks like it could be over. Yellowsword turns for the stun. It's not enough. It's going to be another near ace. Huni wasn't even there.
Fnatic, they went for fully unload on the Toad, but it wasn't enough. Look at how tanky Albus was. He stayed long enough to trade his life almost for Reignover on that jungle Olaf. And where was Huni through that entire fight?
Yeah, not
That's
there.
really it.
So many mistakes from Huni this game, but honestly, AHQ has capitalized so after such a large deficit, they're going to look to take a surprise win over Fnatic.
The death timers are very long, and Huni has to pull a miracle here if he's going to keep Fnatic in this game.
Flash is available for Huni. This may be the time he actually wants to use it.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Tries to go in. There goes the first Nexus turret. Ziv has done such a great job carrying this game back to Meganar. One last time, throws Huni against the Nexus that AHQ is about to take out. AHQ takes down Fnatic.
AHQ bounce back from their day one upset against Cloud9 and make this group really interesting.
Yeah, they do. Wow. And Fnatic, phenomenal first game of Worlds. Second game, like we talked about, going back onto some of those bad habits. It's definitely, I don't want to say a worrying trend, but it's something to be a bit concerned about, isn't it, guys?
Isn't it one and the same?
It is. All right, we can just use that.
Yeah, the fact that Fnatic defaulted to some of their older habits.
Especially Huni.
Huni had a very poor performance. That was the beginning of the loss of their lead.
I mean, that Gnar matchup, again, it proves that it may not be worth thinking that Darius so early on first rotation on red side, because every team just has a comfortable answer for it that doesn't really give too much away. And
I mean, I still just can't get over how needlessly frantic Fnatic looked, especially Huni, making these plays he didn't need to. I think the best example of that, to me anyway, they were killing the inhibitor. He flashes to try to get some big flash engage. Why? Why do you need to even try that?
That's where the whole game turned around. Maybe that was a team call of some kind, because almost at the second Huni flashed in, Reckless also burned his Sivir ultimate, and then they finished off the inhibitor. But because of that play, that's when AHQ turned it on.
But not to discredit only Fnatic here, but gotta give props where props is due, especially to On in these team fights. He had some really immaculate positioning, because in the earlier stages of the game, Westor was flanking, Ziv was going in, his support wasn't really watching him. Who was peeling for On? Really nobody.
Yeah, Tom Kench, Albus.
That was it, but even he was sometimes
successful.
Dude, we got a win for Tom Kench at Worlds. How about that?
No Bard though.
Oh, no Bard.
We'll have to wait until next year. No, but really, AHQ, we got to see a lot of the ways in which they won the LMS and why they were considered to be pretty good coming into Worlds right here. Ziv, fantastic top laner. We saw through his rage bar management, positioning, and spacing that it was spectacular. On great team fight positioning. And Westor, he performed mostly like he did within the LMS. Roaming, falls behind in gold, still able to win team fights with the rest of his team because they do play cohesively.
He just needs to stop focusing those support stuff.
You know, what mid laner doesn't love to insta-give supports, though?
Well, if you insta-give them, I'm okay with it. But very often, he just left Yellow Star in that sliver of health, and that's where Fnatic actually took control back of the game. But he was adamant, at least. You know, if at first you don't succeed, try it, try again.
Yeah, but at some point, you got to admit that DFG is not in the game anymore. You got to play it a little bit slower. You got to prioritize those targets a little bit better. But for him, it's got to feel good to get a win on the Fizz. It's his primary champion.
Yeah, it's necessary that he's able to win on Fizz, because if teams are letting it through in the ban phase, he's almost knocked himself into a corner that he has to play that. Westor is a player that does not play many champions. So he's not executing on his core top champions. He's not doing anything.
It's put so much pressure on IG, though, in this group. Overall, nobody, like everybody expected Fnatic to take the 6-0 and then the remaining members to fight for second place after the first few days of the tournament. This throws this group entirely wide open.
I mean, we've got Cloud9 on top of this group right now with the 2-0. It's insane. This Worlds is already getting better. Looks like we're getting ready for another interview, this time with some members of AHQ. Got Ziv there, and again, Ziv ended that game 8-2 and 15 on that Gnar. Was a big difference in what ended up giving AHQ the game, because again, we talked about Fnatic. Nothing was really stopping them from running in onto the squishy carries of AHQ, but Ziv was. He was there, perfect Gnar ults nearly every time. Big difference maker in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Ziv played great.
That's right. And so AHQ are on the board. So let's send it over to Shox for more on their first win here at Worlds.
Thank you very much, as I'm joined here by Ziv and Max, who's assisting for the translation. First up, a humongous congratulations on that victory for you guys. Fantastic game. First up, what does it mean after coming into Worlds as an underdog in this group to take this win off one of the favorites?
首先恭喜你们获得胜利。 然后你们在小组里面目前是看起来是黑马的姿势，然后击败了 Fnatic。那你们现在对这种感觉有什么感受如何？
就是觉得很开心，因为毕竟我们第一场打得并不是很好，所以这算我们的开壶这样子。
We're really happy to get this win because we didn't play that well during our first match, and this is our first win, so we're happy to have that.
Well, you guys played very well in this match. Ziv, we know you're the Summer Split MVP over in the LMS, and we were looking forward to what you could do here. Tell me about this matchup versus Huni, one of the best top laners in EU.
我们知道你夏季赛是 MVP， 然后打得也很好，这场比赛表现得也很好。那你跟 Huni 对线这点有什么想法？跟他对他的表现如何？你的表现如何？
我觉得 Huni 在对线上就是表现得非常凶，所以我觉得他很容易在一些失误之后马上想要把它打回来，所以我觉得这是我们很容易找到他失误的地方。
I think Huni plays really aggressive, and when he makes a mistake, he always tries to get it back. So whenever he makes a mistake and tries to be even more aggressive, we capitalize on that.
Can you explain a little more? Was that the key to beating Fnatic, that they get overconfident in the mid game?
想请教，可以解释一下说，是因为你觉得 Huni 是不是太自信了，所以这是你们打败他们的其中一个原因？
其实也不太算是，算是我们团队上配合比较好。
Not entirely. We think we had a better team fights and better chemistry.
You had incredible team fights and incredible shot calling at the end of that game, so congratulations. With this, what does this mean for you guys? How far do you think you can go in this group knowing that you just took down Fnatic?
你们的确是团队打得很好，那你们已经拿下这个胜利了。那接下来这些比赛，你觉得你们在小组的出现机会大不大？然后对小组的看法？
那我觉得我们只要在保持这个状态，我们的出现几率就很高。然后小组上 IG 好像状态也不太好，所以 C9 有点就是超乎预料的强，所以我们觉得下一场对上 C9 我们要认真讨论那个选角之类的。
I think if we capitalize on this and if we keep our condition up, there's a good chance that we'll get out of the group. It seems like IG isn't conditioned that well either, but Cloud9 has surprised everybody's expectations, and now we're paying more attention to him. We'll be very careful preparing our next match against them.
Well, it's certainly possible. The group is wide open. Congratulations, and thank you so much for the interview. Guys, it's bonkers over here in Paris. Wrap it up.
I feel like bonkers is a good word for it. when Cloud9 is sitting 2-0 atop the group.
That's not even our best team from NA. That's our 7th best team.
Damn.
Come at us. Come on.
NA strongest region.
Okay. Well, then I humbly suggest something I've been suggesting for a long time, which is that we move to, you know, we had Battle of the Atlantic in the offseason, Pacific Scrim.
There it is.
Korea and North America. Yeah, 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2. Let's do it.
I like this idea. I'll pitch it to the execs.
Cool.
I'll pitch it to the execs.
It's catchy.
China wants nothing to do with this.
Keep us out of it. All right, but in all seriousness, this game, you know, early on, we were looking at it saying, oh, okay, Fnatic, typical Fnatic. They're building an early lead, 2K very early on. And then AHQ clawed their way back into it. Ziv, that man on the screen there, was a huge role in that as well.
Why you got to do this to me? I just said Fnatic would go 6-0, and then AHQ actually shows up. No, I was really glad to see that AHQ got it together. This is much more what we were expecting from this team, not the pitiful first game that they showed us.
And, you know, Ziv had a great role, and I will talk about it, but Arn, they put so much into it. They refused to knock the turret down because they want to get levels and farm onto this guy. And when it gets to late game, and Arn, whatever you want to call him, he is amazing AD carry.
But what I love about the draft here is they pick Tom Kench.
Yeah.
They pick Tom Kench for On. Every time On is in trouble because there's an Olaf and an Annie, they're going to run straight at him. He's like, oh my God, he's going to be there. Oh my God. And he clenches for the Kench and he gets inside the belly and then he just runs away. It was so good. I loved Albus in these fights. Yeah. The way he was picking him up and running, the direction he was running was always really good. He was never putting him in a bad position. And he even used it to bait a couple times. So the way that this Tom Kench was played out, I think was a great debut and showcase of what the champion can do. And I don't think this is the last that we've seen of him, especially in teams that love protecting their AD carry.
Yeah, with these low mobility hyper carries, Tom Kench becomes incredibly relevant. And you could see that this is something they had really practiced coming into this match, that they knew exactly. Albus was so aware of cooldowns and when he could eat the Jinx and when he could spit the Jinx back out safely.
And let's talk about what that does to the rest of the team fight, because all of a sudden, mid laner, top laner, no need to peel. You can just dive the heck out of the enemy backline, and that's what we saw time and time again. Westall flying in on his Fizz. You have this Mega Gnar nailing people with a wallop. It wasn't even the Mega Gnar half the time, and across the board, AHQ thrive in chaos, and that is exactly what those fights were.
Exactly. It's so hard to go for proper target selection when there's a Gnar in the middle of your team, a 40% CDR Fizz, and that's when the breakpoint started happening, where he's able to Playful Trickster, Zhonya's Q, Playful Trickster again. And then if you go for the Jinx, Tom Kench has that person's back. And then hitting the Tom Kench doesn't seem that useful either. So really, going after this composition was extraordinarily difficult, not to mention, just to add icing on top of the cake, Elise can repel. You didn't have a really solid target to go after, except for Ziv, but he got ahead and he got to a tanky point.
So AHQ has showed us some of what we're looking for here. They finally showed up, as you said, Monty, in this game. Now let's flip to the other side, because Fnatic, we were expecting them to do well. This is a team that everyone's expecting to do well, if not finish first in this group. What have we learned about them after this game?
Their mid laner is really good. Like, really, really good. He was 130 CS up. He dictated the pace of the lane. He nailed some shockwaves. Sure, late game team fighting got difficult, but I think it's because of the reasons we listed. He is a very good player.
He is. Now, he also had a blind pick Fizz into him, so he did have some more opportunities. I'd love to see AHQ get some more Ahri in there, which is one of Westor's champions, a little safer in that blind pick. But man, Fnatic, I think we're seeing over the course of this tournament, no one really knew what this patch was, 5.18. And I think we're learning that there are a lot of options against Darius. Yes. And I think we're going to see, starting in the next few days, much lower priority on that pick.
All right, well, let's pull up the standings to see how things have changed after today's games. Group A had the day off, so CLG remains at the top 2-0, followed by the Flash Wolves and Coup Tigers, tied for second. Then in Group B, it's clear skies for Cloud9, who are flying high above AHQ, Fnatic, and IG. SK Telecom controls Group C with a perfect 3-0, while EDG settles in second. Finally, in Group D, KT Rolster and Origin are undefeated, while LGD and TSM are still looking for their first win. A big part of C9's second win was one fight that got Viciter on Twitter, who writes, "Sneaky and Incarnation, that was a beautiful dragon fight by Cloud9. Let's check out your world's big play of the day."
There's a kill there, Sneaky. Could start getting the kills. Kakao with one, though. Balls does go down during the middle of all of it. IG trying to turn around, but it looks like C9 has enough. Triple kill for Sneaky.
See how Incarnation and Sneaky do work here.
Whoa.
Gets the static shiv crit as well as the dunk here. And Incarnation actually doesn't have the perfect ult, but it still zones Kakao and Rookie off to the side a little bit.
I mean, this fight to me just showcased the strength of those two players, given all the things we talked about with Balls having been behind and fighting to even stay relevant in the game. They have to rely and fall back onto these two carries so much to carry them through these games.
It was a great core. They had a great laning phase as well. Both of them were about 40-50 CS up between Incarnation and Sneaky, and they were able to fall back on their shoulders and allow them to win the game. I did think that team fight was a great showcase of the position that Sneaky can have on that team and how he's been a consistent threat throughout the split. Even when his team isn't doing too well, he still holds positions like that and holds his ground.
Well, if you want to see more plays like that, make sure to meet us back here tomorrow for the final day of Week 1. We'll be starting the day off in Group D as TSM challenges China's LGD Gaming. Then it's on to KT Rolster versus Europe's Origin. After that, Invictus will face off against AHQ Esports. The action gets underway at 2 p.m. Central European Time, 5 a.m. Pacific, so mark your calendars. Looking at the lineup, though, gentlemen, which of these games are you keeping your eye on to close out our week?
CLG Flash Wolves. That's the one I'm looking at personally, because I think that CLG might have what it takes to close it out against the Flash Wolves sorry, Coup Tigers. Coup. Man, the Tigers, Wolves, Tigers, Wolves. They already beat Flash Wolves.
Too many
I want to relive that. I'm gonna go watch the replay later. But yeah, Coup Tigers versus CLG, because I think that in Coup's current state and what I've been hearing about their scrims very recently, I think that CLG is going to be the team to actually come out on top of Group A.
Definitely possible. I'm looking forward to the KT Origin matchup, just because we have these 2-2-0 teams. Both of them have been drafting very intelligently. I'm really just looking forward to the pick and ban phase of that game in particular.
See, I'm confused right now because I don't know whether I want to watch IG play or LGD. I don't really want to watch either of them play if they continue to play like they're
Spawn,
playing.
it's okay to want to watch a team from a different region. It is, I promise you.
But it's because I'm perplexed right now. I just don't know if there's a complete misread on where power lies within the world of League of Legends, and I was fooled the whole time, or whether they just haven't showed up. So I want to keep an eye on the Chinese team, see if they can get it together.
I'm with you. The KT Origin game is going to be very interesting, to say the least. Well, now for myself and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and stay right there for another episode of Worlds Tonight in just 15 minutes.
First match, it's going to be an amazing one. It's China's Edward Gaming versus South Korea's SK Telecom T1. That's a trade kill back in Pond. Now stuck on top of the Dragon. Faker gets his first kill of the game, and then still trades back and forth, but EDG are routed. Faker picks up the kill. Mako's next easily, and there's really not much that Amazing Jay's going to do on this one. Pond pops yielding for a bit of damage. Zonya's to buy some time. SKT, undaunted, take down Edward Gaming. Fight. H2K pick up their first win at Worlds. Custom is useful for KT. They get his ulti. Now he's going to fight Arrow. It's going to be close. Arrow! Gina Crafton comes across, but already 2 kills. Now 3 kills picked up. Acorn jumps in. Tries to pick up a little bit of something. Score will go down. KT 2-0 to start out their World Championship. It's kills on each side. So far, though, 2 for 1. And X-Brick that game great. And double kill for Soaz. Balls does go down during the middle of all that. IG trying to trigger around, but it looks like C9 has enough. Triple kill for Sneaky. The damage from, the damage from his Seer and from Sneaky is so big. Double kill for his already. And they complete the 2-0 already at Worlds. A lot of trouble, gonna go down. Westdoor gets the kill, gets taken out though as Uni comes in. It's a brawl. Fnatic are okay, and that is gonna be the damage. Turns around, double kill though for On.
The beginning of the resets.
That's right, Westdoor getting the kill, triple kill. AHQ still with the edge as Rain over the rest of Fnatic make a run for it. There's a double kill for Westdoor. AHQ takes down Fnatic.